power of the tongue, your words hold life and death. Proverbs 18:21 explained. What if every word you spoke was a seed? Not a seed planted in the soil, but a seed planted directly into the soul of another or into your own. Some of these seeds blossom into gardens of life, while others sprout into forests of poison that choke the light. You believe you are merely speaking, but the ancient sages knew you were casting spells with every syllable, and today we will uncover the forgotten power hidden in your own voice. Have you ever felt the sting of a word, a single careless phrase that struck you years ago yet still echoes in the quiet chambers of your mind? It left no visible scar, no bruise upon the skin, and yet the wound feels deeper, more persistent than any physical blow. This is the phantom pain inflicted by the tongue, an injury that festers in the spirit. Conversely, have you ever been lost in a desert of despair and a single word of kindness, of belief, felt like a sip of cool, life-giving water, a word that did not just quench your thirst, but reminded you that oases were real? Why does this small muscle hidden behind our teeth wield such an immense, almost terrifying power over the human experience? We have been conditioned to believe that words are cheap, that they are just air, empty vibrations that dissipate into nothingness. This is the great deception of our age. The wisdom of the ancients etched into the scrolls of Proverbs tells a different story. It reveals that words are not empty vessels, they are carriers. They carry intention, they carry history, they carry the very essence of our inner state. They are the invisible architects of our reality, meticulously building up or violently tearing down the inner temples of those we love, and indeed, the sanctuary of our own soul. We have been taught to see the world, but we have forgotten how to speak it into being. The sacred texts speak of this principle not as mere poetry, but as a fundamental law of the universe, as real as gravity. The tongue, they say, is a small rudder that steers the great ship of our lives. It is a fire, a world of iniquity capable of setting entire forests ablaze with a single spark. Yet this same instrument holds the keys to creation. Within this paradox lies one of the most profound and overlooked truths of human existence, that the power to create and the power to destroy are not held in our hands, but are balanced on the tip of our tongue. Tonight, we do not merely discuss Proverbs, we embark on a journey into the very heart of this power. We have been taught to guard our homes, to guard our possessions, to guard our reputations, but who taught you to stand sentinel at the gate of your own mouth? Stay with me, because we are about to pull back a veil. We will explore the hidden mechanisms by which your speech shapes your destiny and the destiny of everyone you touch. To look away now is to remain a slave to a power you were meant to command. The secrets are waiting. The book of Proverbs states with chilling precision that there is one whose rash words are like sword thrusts, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Let us not rush past this imagery. Picture a sword, not a blade of steel, but a blade forged from haste, from thoughtlessness, from ego. When it strikes, it does not draw blood. It severs something far more vital. It severs trust. It cripples confidence. It injects a slow-acting venom of doubt that paralyzes a person's spirit. These are the words spoken without a heart to guide them, the sharp critique disguised as honesty, the casual judgment that lands like a stone, the gossip that assassinates a reputation in the dark. It is a violence so common we have ceased to recognize it as violence at all. It is the phantom blade that leaves its victims bleeding internally, wondering why they feel so broken, so diminished, so profoundly unseen. And who is the one who wields this blade? Adi, it is rarely a monster. More often, it is an unconscious swordsman. It is the parent who, in a moment of frustration, speaks a word of comparison that shadows a child for a lifetime. It is the friend who, out of their own insecurity, belittles a dream. It is you. It is me. It is any one of us in a moment of spiritual slumber when our mouth moves faster than our soul can whisper. Be gentle, we speak, believing our words are disposable, but they have an afterlife. They take up residence in the minds of others, becoming the relentless inner critics that are not even their own. We must ask ourselves with terrifying honesty, how many invisible wounds have we inflicted without even knowing? How many ghosts of our careless words now haunt the hallways of another's heart? But the proverb does not leave us in this darkness. It presents an alternative, a divine counter-magic. But the tongue of the wise brings healing. This healing is not the cheap comfort of flattery or the empty calories of hollow praise. This is a profound act of spiritual restoration. The healing tongue is the one that speaks truth with a surgeon's care, not a butcher's carelessness. It is the voice that says, I see your struggle and you are not alone in it. It is the word of forgiveness that cauterizes an old wound and allows new life to grow. It is the act of naming the strength in someone who can only see their own weakness. It is a balm of presence, a salve of understanding. It is the conscious decision to use this immense power not to dissect, but to mend. Think of a time you were cut. Feel the echo of that sword thrust, the dismissal, the ridicule, the cold silence that spoke louder than any shout. Let the memory surface. Now, right beside it, place a memory of being healed by a word. The teacher who said, you have a gift. The partner who whispered, we will get through this together. The friend who simply said, I believe in you. Feel the difference? One is the sting of death, a small annihilation of the spirit. The other is the breath of life, a resurrection of hope. Both were delivered by the same instrument. The sword and the salve are one. This is the choice that stands before you in every conversation, in every silence, in every thought that is about to become a word. This dynamic expands beyond single moments. It builds the very architecture of our lives. Your words, especially the ones you repeat, create an echo chamber. They do not simply describe your reality, they construct it. The phrases you use to define your identity, your future, your limitations, they are not passive observations. They are active commands sent to your subconscious. They are the blueprints from which your life will be built. If your inner and outer monologue is a litany of, I can't, it's too hard, I always fail, you are not merely expressing a feeling, you are casting a spell of confinement upon yourself. You are building the walls of your own prison, brick by verbal brick, and then wondering why you do not feel free. The world you inhabit is a mirror reflecting the world you have spoken. This is most potent in the words we speak to ourselves. The world can be a harsh critic, but no voice is more relentless, more intimately damaging than the one inside our own heads when it turns against us. That silent whisper of, you are not enough, you are a fraud, you will be discovered. This is the tongue turned inward, a form of self-cannibalism. These are incantations of self-sabotage, prayers for our own failure. We speak our fears into being, watering the weeds of doubt until they choke out the flowers of our potential. We become the living embodiment of our own worst prophecies, all because we failed to stand guard over the words we tell ourselves in the dark when no one else is listening. But what if that inner voice became a conscious ally? What if the first words you spoke to yourself each morning were not of dread, but of intention? Words of affirmation are not some naive self-help trick. They are a profound act of spiritual rebellion. They are a rebellion against the forces of entropy and despair that seek to pull us down. And to speak life into yourself is to consciously cultivate an inner garden. It is to say, even in this uncertainty, I will grow. Even with this fear, I will act. Even with this wound, I am whole. This is how you reclaim your own inner landscape. You begin by changing the climate, and the climate is changed by the words you allow to rain down upon it. This same principle governs the spaces we share. The words spoken in a home determine its atmosphere. Is it a sanctuary of encouragement or a war zone of criticism? Used in a workplace to define its culture. Is it a greenhouse for innovation or a toxic landfill of cynicism and blame? The air you breathe in any environment is thick with the residue of the words that have been spoken there. Some spaces feel light, alive, and full of possibility. Others feel heavy, oppressive, and draining. This is not an accident. It is the cumulative effect of thousands of words, each one a brushstroke painting the collective reality of that space. You are not just a resident in these spaces. You are a co-creator of their atmosphere with every word you contribute. Now, we arrive at the heart of the matter, the verse that holds the key to this entire mystery. Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. Do not read this as a metaphor. Understand it as a statement of cosmic law. The sages were not trying to be poetic. They were trying to be precise. They were revealing that your tongue is a conduit for the fundamental forces of the universe, the force of entropy, decay, and death, and the force of creation, growth, and life. You are a channel for one or the other with every phrase you utter. This is the awesome responsibility you were born with. Let us dissect the word death in this context. How does the tongue kill? It kills dreams with a single cynical remark. It kills relationships with the slow poison of gossip and slander. It kills motivation with the constant drip of criticism. It kills intimacy with words of contempt and stonewalling. It kills a person's spirit by refusing to acknowledge their worth. This death is not always a sudden execution. Often it is a slow, methodical assassination of the soul. It's the unspoken apology, the withheld compliment, the praise you thought but never gave voice to. Silence, too, is a language of the tongue, and that its power to kill is immense. And then there is life. How does the tongue give life? It speaks potential into a person who sees only failure in the mirror. It breathes hope into a situation that seems desolate. It offers forgiveness, which can resurrect a relationship from its grave. It speaks words of truth that illuminate a dark and confusing path. The tongue gives life when it names the good, the true, and the beautiful in a world that often screams the opposite. It is the voice that blesses, that encourages, that validates, that empowers. To speak life is to align yourself with the creative force of the universe itself, to become a partner with God in the ongoing work of creation and redemption. Finally, the verse concludes with a promise and a warning. And those who love it will eat its fruits. This is the law of the harvest. You will dine on the consequences of your own words. If you sow seeds of discord, bitterness, and criticism, do not be surprised when your life's harvest is one of isolation, conflict, and misery. You will eat that bitter fruit. But if you lovingly intentionally cultivate a language of life, of healing, of encouragement, and of truth, you will feast on a harvest of deep connection, of mutual respect, of joy, and of peace. The choice of what you will have for dinner tomorrow begins with the words you choose to speak today. You are the farmer of your own existence. So the question becomes, how do we tame this wild power? If the tongue holds the forces of life and death, how can we, in our flawed and impulsive humanity, ever hope to control it? The scripture itself admits the tongue is a restless evil, full of deadly poison, and that no human being can tame it completely. This is a humbling admission. It is meant to break our pride and our naive belief in simple self-control. To simply say, I will think before I speak, is a noble start, but it is a shallow strategy destined to fail under pressure because the words do not originate in the tongue. The tongue is merely the delivery system. The source is deeper. The great teacher revealed the secret when he said, "For out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks." Your words are simply the overflow of your inner state. They are symptoms, not the disease. A bitter tongue is the sign of a bitter heart. A critical tongue is the sign of a judgmental heart. A fearful tongue is the sign of a heart filled with anxiety. Therefore, the work of taming the tongue is not work on the tongue at all. It is the work of guarding, purifying, and cultivating the heart. You cannot fix the river by cleaning its mouth. You must go to the wellspring from which it flows. What does it mean to guard the heart? It means becoming a conscious curator of what you allow inside. It means monitoring the information you consume, the conversations you participate in, the resentments you nurse, the grievances you rehearse. It means actively cultivating an inner soil of gratitude, forgiveness, and compassion. It requires the discipline of silence, of learning to listen more than we speak, to understand before we seek to be understood. It is in these moments of quiet contemplation that we can observe the impulses of the heart before they become the actions of the tongue. This is not a quest for perfection, but for intention. It is a lifelong, sacred art of becoming a conscious creator rather than an unconscious destroyer. It is the understanding that with every word, you are making a choice. You are either aligning with the force that builds, heals, and restores, or the force that tears down, wounds, and diminishes. The power has been placed in your hands, or rather, in your mouth. You are not a victim of your words. You are their master once you decide to be. And that decision made today can change the entire trajectory of your life and the lives of everyone you will ever meet. And so we stand at this ancient crossroads with the sword and the salve, the poison and the antidote, held in the same small space between our lips. We have seen that our words are not fleeting sounds, but eternal seeds, planting gardens or wastelands in the souls of others and our own. This is not a burden, but a sacred trust. It is the power to co-create the world, to mend its fractures, and to speak light into its darkest corners. That the choice is presented to us not once in a lifetime, but in every moment, with every breath that is about to become a word. The world is not so loud because of the shouts of the wicked, but because of the profound and deafening silence of the wise, the gentle, and the good. What healing is waiting on the other side of your fear of speaking up? What life-giving truth have you kept locked away inside you? What relationship could be resurrected by the words of forgiveness you're too proud to offer? Your voice was given to you as a gift, not just for you, but for a world that is aching to hear a word of genuine life. Do not let it go to waste. Remember this: your words are your legacy. They are the invisible monuments you build in the hearts of others. Long after your money is spent, your possessions have turned to dust, and your name is forgotten, the echo of your words will remain. It will vibrate in the lives of your children, your friends, and every person you have ever encountered. The ultimate question we must all face is this: when all is said and done, will the echo of our life be a song of healing or the painful ringing of a wound? This conversation does not end when this video fades to black. It begins. It begins in your next conversation, in the next words you speak to yourself in the mirror, in the next comment you type. If this journey has resonated within you, if you feel both the weight and the glory of this truth, then you are already part of this community of wisdom seekers. Join us. Subscribe to Biblical Wisdom SP, not just to watch videos, but to engage in the intentional practice of living a deeper life. Activate the notification bell, because each piece of wisdom builds upon the last, creating a stronger foundation. Share this video with one person whose words have been a source of life for you, and let them know it. And in the comments below, I invite you to share one word, just one single word that you choose to be your guide. Let this comment section become a testament to the power of intentional speech. The algorithm will now suggest another video from our channel. I encourage you to continue this journey with us. Let the wisdom of the ages continue to illuminate your path. Until we meet again, speak life,